How many interviews did you do for this book?
I think I did about 300. The thing is, NBA rosters are so much smaller than, NFL, you're dealing with 100 guys a season. Here, at most, you have 20 on a roster in the course of a year. But, yeah, about 300.
Wow, 300. That's crazy.
I couldn't do 300. That's too many people.
You know what? That's wrong, though. You could. The thing is, like, they basically give you 2 years to write a book. And they say, all right, I'm going to do this book about the Lakers. And it's Shaq, it's Kobe, it's Phil, it's that era. And it's been written about a ton. So you have to find ways to find information that has been written about before. So what are the ways you do that? Number one, you call people who aren't normally called. It's like, obviously you want to talk to Shaq, you want to talk to Phil, Kobe's live, you want to talk to Kobe. But, like, what about the ball boys? What about the guys who were cut in training camp? What about the guys, the 12th men on the bench? What about the guys who were traded? What about the Laker girls? What about front office executives? What about the guy who cleaned the water fountains in the stadium? You just find all those people, and it becomes this kind of fun, interesting chase to track down new information.
Yeah, so cool. I obviously, and we didn't grow up in that time, so we know very little about what happened in that time other than what the media says about the things. You guys have that face, like you guys know.
I studied. I studied.
You guys studied?
Okay. For Kobe.
So what do you know about it then?
What do I know? Like the teams, what do you want? What are you specifically asking me?
I'm talking about like the behind the scenes stuff and the kind of the beef that was going on between Shaq and Kobe.
I mean, the biggest thing I can understand from Kobe and Shaq, they had a sit down not too long ago before he passed away, and Kobe's only issue with Shaq was that Shaq didn't really work hard. He would come to training camp overweight, and he would just use the last 2 weeks of the season to get ready for the regular season. Mind you, Kobe Bryant was always in the offseason working hard, in the summer working on his game, working at the first one in the gym, last one out. So I know that the basis of their beef was because Kobe Bryant was a hard worker and Shaq wasn't. And if you watch the sit down with them, a lot of the times they felt like they could have won more championships if Shaq had was a harder worker. So
that actually leads to my question, but I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you talk about how Shaq was lazy. So I got a question for you, because you grew up in that time more than us, so you were alive to see all of that. So me and JC, we go back on this a lot. We talk about Shaq, Hakeem, Kareem, Olajuwon, and all that. Where would you rank Shaq all time, like on the all time big man list? Because I have him behind Hakeem Olajuwon.
Me too. I think Hakeem.
Where would you put him if you had to start from Orlando to the end of his career? Where would you rank Shaq?
All right, so of the big men I saw, I can't say like Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell.
Yeah, no, the big men you've seen.
I think I would go Olajuwon first.
Mm-hmm.
Olajuwon was ridiculous. He was like center size, small forwards moves. He was preposterous. Shaq a close second. Then you got like David Robinson,
Admiral
Ewing,
Ewing.
Morning, Mutombo. It's a pretty good era. You know what's funny though?
It's the era of the big man.
Like those guys right now, they wouldn't fit in the NBA. Like Shaq, the idea of taking a 330-pound guy, plopping him down in the paint, hand up, calling for the ball, it doesn't really exist now.
Yeah.
Big men are moving. It's like Joel and Embiid. They're moving around. They're doing things, and it might work, but it'd be really different. The one thing I want to say, though, is I actually disagree. All right, you guys, maybe you could appreciate this, because this is one thing I disagree with. Everyone's like, Kobe worked hard, Shaq was lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq wasn't lazy, right? There's a difference between he wasn't lazy. Like Kobe was an insane worker.
Yeah.
All he did was work. Like he worked his ass off. He deserved what he got because he was the hardest worker anyone's ever heard of. What Shaq did is he would play these seasons. So they were double teaming Shaq all the time. So he was getting the shit kicked out of him by like big guys who were just beating the crap out of him every night. And when the season would be over, Shaq owned a mansion in Orlando. And he would go to Orlando and he would float in his pool. And he'd have a cheeseburger, and he'd have a cigar, and he'd have women, and he'd have drink, and he would kick back and relax, right? That's not lazy. That's being 27, an NBA star, and enjoying your life.
Yeah.
And I think, like, you shouldn't have to work 365 days a year. Like, Kobe was just the extreme, and he deserves credit for that. But Shaq wasn't lazy. He was doing what you're supposed to. Like,
MVP
I've covered sports for a long time, and what a lot of athletes do, and it's a huge mistake, is they'll be in the moment and they'll win a championship. And the interviewer will say, so when is this all going to sink in? When are you going to be able to enjoy this? And they'll say, you know what? I'll enjoy it when I'm retired and I'm able to look back. But it doesn't really work that way, because a lot of times when you're retired, the memories are long ago, or you have new problems, or you have new issues. It's not that easy to be like, oh, I remember 20 years ago when I was like, it doesn't work that way. You need to enjoy the moment. And I think Shaq, like Kobe had a better career than Shaq, but I would have rather been Shaq because I feel like he enjoyed the moment, if that makes sense.
What I could gain from that is Shaq was more of the person that enjoyed living in the moment, and Kobe was constantly worried about his legacy.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. But think about it for a second. Like, one day, like, it's a little, the whole idea of legacy. I mean, you get this. I'm 48. I'm more than double your guys' age. Like, as you get older, legacy actually doesn't matter as much to you. Like, when you're younger, you're always like, legacy, legacy, my legacy, my legacy. But you know what? No one, all of us had grandparents and great-great-great-grandparents. We don't remember any of them.
Right.
You know why? Because they were dead a long time ago. Like, generally, your legacy does not carry. Like, legacy, like, you only do this one time. You get to be alive one time. You get to be an NBA superstar one time in your life. And the people who criticize Shaquille O'Neal for enjoying it and embracing it and being a star, you know, he was a rapper, not a very good one, but he was a rapper.
He was horrible.
He made a song with
yeah, he was. You know, he did a song. He did one song with Fife from Tribe Called Quest. It was actually okay, but he wasn't great. But he enjoyed it, man. He put out albums and he was like doing movies, and it was this great time for him. And he'll never be able to look back. He's not a guy who's going to look back and think, man, I wish I enjoyed it more when I was 27.
That's true.
Like, he lived it.
Yeah, I don't think Shaq could definitely deny that. He lives life.
So Kobe, I know Kobe made a song. Shaq rapped.
KD
What do
made
you
a song
think?
too.
What do you think about Dame Miller's rap skills?
Okay, it's interesting. Did you guys follow the back and forth between Shaq and Dame?
I definitely did.
I felt like it was a rapper from my generation going against a modern rapper. It almost felt like if, like, you brought Tupac back and he was going to battle Drake, and it would be like these two contrasting styles. Except neither Shaq nor Damian Lillard are world-class rappers. I thought Shaq wasn't very good. He just wasn't. It was kind of funny. He was kind of him. It's cool that he did. He's almost, I think he's 50 years old. But, like, he wasn't that good. And I thought Lillard kind of won, but I didn't think he was that good either. I don't know. Did you?
I thought Damian Lillard was a better rapper than him. I just thought Shaq was funnier.
Yeah, Dame's all right.
He's okay.
He's not the best rapper, but he's okay.
He's okay.
When it comes to athletes, it's extremely hard for me to take their music seriously.
If you guys do one thing in your life, here's what I need you to do. You have a pencil in your hand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
There's a song called Get Mesmerized. It was a rap song by the 1986 New York Mets.
Yeah.
They made a song?
What?
They made a song?
They made a song called Get Mesmerized. Your life will forever be changed by listening to the song Get Mesmerized. It is the worst piece of music of all time. It's done by the 86 Mets. It's the best thing ever.
And the Mets suck. To this
Literally.
day.
But they were good in 86.
They were.
won the World Series in
That's
86.
the last time they won a championship was in the 80s, right?
Yeah, 86.
So they made a song, they won, and then
they sucked
ever
ever
since then they've been garbage.
Yeah, they shouldn't do music anymore.
When I think about the Lakers from back then, I think that they were very fortunate that they didn't play in this era. Because I feel like with social media now, there was no way that they would have been able to go from 1996 to 2004. I think Kobe or Shaq would have been traded way before they won 3 championships.
I kind of think Shaq is made for social media. You know, like, he's engaging and
I
he's kind of
think so.
funny. I think Kobe's head would have exploded after a while. I just think, like, he was really intense. Like, really, 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 really intense. And really, I don't know if you guys know people like this. So this was Kobe. This is the best way I can explain Kobe Bryant. And I have a lot of respect for Kobe Bryant. I thought his death obviously was a horrible tragedy. So this is a period of his life. But he came along. So there used to be a magazine. I don't know if you guys know Slam magazine. Do you know
Of course.
Slam? Okay. Slam used to be huge. And when I moved to New York in the late 90s, my roommate was the editor of Slam magazine. And we shared an apartment together. His name was Russ Banks at Slam magazine. And Slam was really the merging of hip hop and hoops. So it was a lot of, like, tattoos and cornrows and Iverson with his hair blown out, Stephon Marbury. It was very, very kind of raw and, like, guys who grew up in tough environments and they were making it. And it was this great thing. And they were combined that with, like, Nas and Biggie and Tupac, and it was great. And every now and then they would put Kobe on the cover. But it never felt authentic. Like, Kobe never felt authentic in that world. He was basically a kid who was raised in Italy with money, with a famous dad, then moved to the suburbs of Philly where there's money with a famous dad. He grew up in an environment where he was one of the few African-American kids, first in Italy, then in America in the suburbs. And it always felt like to a certain degree, he wanted to be that kind of Iverson type guy, fuck off and blah, 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 like that kind of that rawness. But he didn't have it. He didn't have an edge. He didn't have a street edge to him, but he tried acting like he did. So like he would get in fights. He got in a fight with a Nick guard named Chris Childs.
He got
beat up.
Yeah, at the end of the fight.
Yeah.
He got into a fight with Reggie Miller too.
What?
Everybody got into a fight with Reggie Miller.
They fought Reggie Miller.
He did get in a fight with
bad
it. But he also got in a fight. He got in a fight with a teammate named Samaki Walker. You get in these fights, and but it wasn't really real. He was brutal as a basketball player. He was cutthroat and killer.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't a tough guy. Like he wasn't a guy who was street hardened and raised.
Mm-hmm.
He just didn't have that. But he tried putting it off, and it never came off as authentic. I always thought that was an interesting part of Kobe Bryant. He lacked a little bit of authenticity when it came to that regard.
And I think that's something that you can criticize him for, but for me, I look at it as in a way that it's kind of amazing that he built this type of edge to him, because usually people that come from privileged backgrounds, they don't have that edge to them. Like it's harder for them to have a better work ethic than those people who come from, poorer backgrounds.
I think
that's a great point.
I think that comes more from the blueprint he stole it from, though.
That's a good point too. I would not disagree with that. He wanted to be Michael Jordan.
Yeah, it was the easy blueprint to follow. So once you follow that blueprint, it's just like this is the goal.
I have a question for you.
I just want to say the funny thing about him and Jordan, like he comes into the league, he's not just like trying to be Jordan. He's literally imitating the mannerisms,
everything,
shots, the dress, the walk, the cadence of his words. It was laughable almost, except it's kind of amazing that a kid sets out to be Michael Jordan and almost becomes Michael Jordan.
That's true.
That was weird.
He almost did.
Yeah.
He almost
did.
He almost did.
No one's come closer.
Hello, guys. You just watched a clip from Pick a Side. If you like our content, please like and subscribe and share our content across every platform. It helps us grow. Thank you for watching, and see you later.